Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time to come over here and listen to us talk about DISA's private cloud offering, Stratus. My name is Faith Perry. I'm the business lead from the Stratus PMO. I want to introduce you to Mark. You want to go ahead?
Hello, everyone. Yes, Mark Nobles, Stratus engineer. And yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, PayPal? Oh, we're going to do that? Okay. All right, so yeah, before we get started, we're going to go off script a little bit here. But we at DISA are looking to possibly implement a Stratus Oconus, which would be in Pacific. And right now, the environment that we're looking at is at Fort Island. And so with that said, what we were hoping is that after today's briefing, if there's anybody here, mission partners or folks representing mission partners, if this is something that might be of interest to you, please come up and talk to us. We'd like to get some requirements from you. This is kind of a gauging interest in the demand signal for that, right? So we have a few folks out there already that have expressed interest, but we're always looking for more people, so more mission partners. So please keep that in mind at the conclusion of the briefing. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And that is an IL5 pilot that we'll be doing in Paycom. So Mark was in Hawaii a couple months ago representing, and we did get some demand signal, so we want to really broaden that scope. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. We've done our introduction. I'm going to do a brief Stratus overview. We had planned on doing a demonstration, but technically that wasn't going to work in the theater. So if you want to see it, we're right on the other side of the blue curtain here. You come on over and we can demo all the ordering, all of the management that you can do, or that you can hand over to another SA if you want to. Okay. So Stratus is a DoD privately owned cloud. It's owned and operated by DISA. It supports the warfighter globally. We do have use across the globe, users all over. It is managed and hosted in both Montgomery and Oklahoma City data centers. That allows us to have the full failover. We are an RMF ATO accredited cloud service offering. It is not a PA like some of the commercial. Doesn't go through FedRAMP. So we have our own RMF, our own ATO, that we can inherit those controls. And part of that is so much because of the physical data centers at Oklahoma City and Montgomery with the guns, guards, and steel and gates to protect them. We have the secure DoD authentication, so you have to have a CAC in order to get into the environment. And we have portals that allow you to do self-service management, to use ordering, so you can do your MIPR funding, and all of that is automated through that workflow in the portal. You also have the web-based tools to do the management of your environments, and it really supports initial development environments, so you can have your sandbox and go all the way up to protected production environments. So we do have disaster recovery, so if we have a site failover in one location, it will fail over to the other. But we do support any customers who need to do a higher level of DR but that becomes the mission partner responsibility above the operating system level. So the environment supports x86, up to 16 virtual CPUs. We can have 256 gigabytes of RAM on your VM, and we are limited to 2 terabytes per vDisk with a max of 60, so up to 120 terabytes per VM. So you can have a wide range. You can have a beefy platform if you need that. So again, supports all x86 operating environments. We have virtual machine level backup that's built in to our models. We have a public catalog with Microsoft web servers and Red Hat. So we have all the latest public catalogs. You can get those inside the Stratus environment and just bring down those ISOs, stand up those images. We are built on VMware with a proven platform that we've been using at DISA for years. And with the management console on vCloud Director, you can get immediate access as soon as the environment stood up, and you can start building out within minutes. So all the network configuration is, again, done within the vCloud Director console. So a lot of user knowledge across our marketplace there. So it makes it easy for you guys to stand it up. DISA worked very hard when we were standing up Stratus to ensure that our rates were competitive with commercial providers and still on that secure environment. So these rates are doing metered billing. This is the first time that this has been done in DoD, that we have that metered capability. So if you've turned it up, you've powered it up, you've attached it, it's running, you're going to get billed on it. So the CPU and memory is billed on an hourly basis. Your storage is billed on the high watermark for your daily basis, so the gigabyte consumption for that day. So if you have a very lively system where you can turn things down overnight, or, to only increase and burn during the day, we're seeing an average of about 30% of payment as opposed to the allocated. For now, we have SIPR is allocated billing, so what you ordered, your high watermark reserve is what you're going to pay for on the SIPR side. We do plan in FY24 to do meter-based billing in the IL6 environment. That will be coming. So the backup storage is built in. So if you have Tier 1, your primary storage, that's going to be backed up, again, at the VM level every day. And likewise, same with the Tier 2. So if you're doing archive, that backup is built into the policy automatically, but you can create exclusions if you need to. So we're going to work with you to make sure it fits with your requirements. And we have the links for the ordering portal. So for the IaaS portion, that's ias.stratus.mil, and you can learn more about our service offerings and our other cloud support services on the stratus.mil portal. Okay. I'm going to deep dive a little bit into the storage type. So we talked about Tier 1 and Tier 2 and object storage. So I skipped that one on the last slide. So Tier 1 is your high performance. That's our standard. We're going to recommend that you don't do Tier 2 for your live VMs and your OS. But you can. We do have mission partners that are doing that to reduce cost certain times. And it's virtual, so you can easily change that on the fly. So our Tier 1 is enterprise. It's SSD. It includes the FIPS, both Tier 2 and Tier 1 meet the FIPS 142 encryption. And again, they're all backed up, and they include the recovery service. Tier 2 is secondary. That's your archive, your slower storage, that you can really reduce your costs. So if you look back, I'll go back to that previous page, you can see the cost reduction between the Tier 1 versus Tier 2. So you really want to optimize that configuration to meet your budget. Okay. So again, Tier 2 includes the backup and recovery services. And we also have, but this is only on, again, Tier 2 is on NIPR. Object storage is on NIPR only. But this gives you the S3 rest. You can, the S3 storage, where you can, it's using the Cloudian Hyperstore. It includes dual site replication with that cost. And it's ideal for large amounts of data if they're not changing often. And it is accessible via REST API. So if you are doing web development where you need to have that storage, you can do that now. And you can link it completely separate from your Stratus environment. So you don't have to have a Stratus environment in order to get the object storage. We also offer engineering services, and you can do pretty much anything you want. So it's like on-demand call. They can help you with architecture. They can help you doing the RMF accreditation. They can help you figure out how you're going to get a firewall rule in, how you're going to implement that. Whatever you really need them to do, they're available to help you. So you can buy them in blocks of hours. So however, if you know you want somebody to come to every one of your weekly meetings for the next 3 months, you can get somebody to do that as well to help advise, and whether you're migrating or operating in the cloud environment. We also offer logging services, so Splunk on all of the external gateways. So if you need that capability, you can do that as well. Now here, in this graph, I love this one because we talk about what does the cloud service provider actually do for you. And this model applies whether you're doing private or public, right? So those great things at the bottom, DISA as the Stratus cloud service provider is going to provide you that. So you're going to do the networking, we're securing, we're protecting, we're operating and managing it. So networking, you're the storage, the server, the virtualization platform. You as the mission partner, as the application owner, are going to be responsible for that virtual networking, for the OS, patching, stigging, administering, managing the middleware, your runtime, your data, and your applications. Now that's your responsibility if you're going to meet RMF accreditation so you can open up ports. You're going to have all of that to pass. Now you can do that yourself, or you can hire DISA to do it, or you can hire a third party to do that. But it's going to have to be done in order to meet the cloud security regulation requirements guidance. So in the next slide, you can say, oh, how does DISA actually help you manage that? And that's with our Plus services. Okay, so we have the SAs, we have the cloud SMEs on site that can help you do that for you. So you, again, when you're looking at how you're going to manage your environment, you want to think about how you're going to pay for that, and you want to do the apples to apples. What's it cost you to get somebody directly on contract to do that as opposed to outsource it to DISA? So they're going to, if we do that, and again, let me go back previous slides and see if we get your relevant. But they're going to manage that yellow for you up to that, okay? So you can full service if you want. And they'll manage the provisioning portal. That means they're going to be doing the virtual networking. They're going to be managing access. They're going to do the firewall, proxies, all of that. And then you can also get them, they're going to do the OS automatic. That's going to be the patch, the stigging, the administration. When you do that, that limits the mission partner access, right? Because we're taking on that role. We're offering you that inherited control because we're managing that on your behalf. So you're going to get more of an auditor or read-only type role access to that. But we can manage it so that everybody has a maintenance window. And you can decide that if you want to, when you can get elevated access to have your developers update, do what they need to do to that code. So the Plus add-on, those optional services, you can do web administration, application administration, database security. I'm going to say that one first because that's mandatory, right? So those cyber controls, the Plus people are going to need those database security controls, but you can also get them to do full administration. So they can do your transactional logging and backup if you need to. And we also have 24/7. So depending on the criticality of your application and it's your mission partners, you want to think about, is a 2-hour window outage acceptable in your environment? Normal operations, if anything goes wrong, we're guaranteeing 2 hours. But if you need 24/7, you can get that. Okay? And again, we have more information available on our website. We also have service offerings for CSSP, so your cloud service provider. Again, DISA offers that as a service, as a cost. You can do it. You can outsource it to a third party, C5, ISR, Don Navy does some. That's really up to you. But again, those are the kind of service capabilities you will be required to have before you can open up ports on the burst. And VMS, right now VMS is part of the cloud basic services. So that's going to be your ESS and your ACAS. And you know, it's included in the Plus, but you can get that separately. So if you don't want those Plus services, you can buy that distinctly on the NIPR side. If you're doing it on the IL6 side, you're going to need to stand up your Nexus scanners inside your VDC. So again, we want your feedback on how we can improve. We haven't had many complaints about that. There hasn't been a great deal of need on the high side, but We really want to get that feedback. Okay, and again, for more information for our ESS and ACAS services, we have those listed on our website. Our DISA Cloud CSSP, that's a little redundant, sorry. That service offering offers all of these capabilities. So they provide support and training, incident response support, they give you malware notification, they give you warning intelligence, so that's all, they're doing all the scanning inside, outside to protect you and protect the world from you. So you'll get both of those. So we also have the incident reporting, and if you need them, and based on your environment, you can also get external vulnerability scans and web vulnerability scans. And then, of course, we do the sustainment and configuration management of your environment. So how do you get response? Once you're live and in that environment, we have recently stood up the DISA customer support teams. That's going to be your first point of entry. And they're going to help you in those time frames, just normal business time. But otherwise, you can call the GSD helpline 24 hours a day. Okay? We do have the MPEO, so if you're looking at trying to connect different services that DISA may offer, maybe you need secure file gateway or cross-domain solutions, they're going to help you integrate those existing services to make sure that your Stratus environment has all the capabilities that you need to be successful. Okay, and earlier I mentioned that you can have immediate elevated access to your VDC, and we just want to highlight this. So when you go to the portal page at the very bottom, there's Access VDC, Request Access. And so whoever is assigned as your VDC administrator, and that could be you, or it could be Plus, the DISA Plus team, they'll get an email right away that says this person needs access. Based on their knowledge of who you are and what access they need, they can just push a button and then you will now be granted that access. Okay? All of the information that you capture about the configuration, your allocated, your ceilings that you want for your environment, that's all automated, right? So you're going to go through that web portal. It's going to use orchestration to VMware to stand up that environment, to give the folks access based on their tier status of contact for that VDC. And again, we have a lot of customers who will do a site in Montgomery, another site in Oklahoma City, maybe just for failover, but for a lot of times because they want to have that different environment. They'll do a development in one place, they'll do the production in the other place. They know they're going to have site failover if there's a smoking hole scenario, God forbid. But you can leverage that capability. And again, we have, over the past year, I can tell you, our system administrators have really gone off the charts on their knowledge of how to leverage VMware in our environment, how to avoid the IA pitfalls, and really make sure that everybody's getting the services they need, the access that they need to get full capability out of the environment. So again, that's our last slide, but we have a lot of helpful links. We are right on the other side of the curtain. We'll be glad to give you a demonstration. I'm sorry we couldn't make that happen today up here, but we're glad to do that. We can do it over there. We tested, but I need my CAC and my computer to show you that. So, all right. Did I forget anything?
Well, do we want to?
We're going to do questions. Yeah.
Well, no. Touch on the Quora at all? Do we want to?
Why don't you talk about that?
So one of the things, sure. So one of the things is Faith said, once you have money in the account, and also we didn't mention the MIPR and 7600. I don't know if that matters, but anyway, so we accept MIPRs and the 7600 from a financing standpoint. Once money's in the account or a ban is created, it's a very, very quick turnaround, just as Faith alluded. You can stand your environment up literally within minutes, if not maybe hours. One of the key things, though, that a lot of people are somewhat confused about, just from personal experience, is the getting beyond the deck firewall, the firewall out of the data center. So a lot of folks think that they can come in and port 84 and/or 443 are going to be open for them. That's not the case, right? So to make that happen, there's what we have, or what we refer to as the CORA process, which is the certificate of risk acceptance. And basically what that does is once you sign that document, that's basically the mission partner's ISSM or ISSO giving provisional authority to operate within Stratus. And so once that documentation is in, then the requisite ports, whatever it is the mission partner is looking for, can be open. And that's usually probably not the longest pull, but that is one of the longer pulls in getting your environment connected to the outside world. But again, we've streamlined that process and tried to make things as easy as possible with our mission partner. What we hope to demonstrate for you, or as Faith said, you can come over to the booth over here and we can kind of show you all this and what it all looks like and how to set up your environment, and also give rights to other users within your organization, right? And different tiers or levels, based on roles, whether we're talking be cloud director or in the business portal itself. It's very, very simple, very streamlined. It's a really, really good thing that we got. So, did we got anything on that core?
Yeah, that's good. The Cora is a nice shortcut. When you're onboarding and trying to be, effective and fully operational, the two long poles are funding. That's first. As soon as you get that in, within hours, you can have that. You can have your system, your configuration deployed, up and running, and you having access. The other long pole, as Mark talked about, is being able to open up those ports so you can use your systems, right? Make it available to your community. So the Cora gives you a little bit of a shortcut when you get your AO to sign off and say, I accept risk. And so that makes it a little bit quicker, but it's still security.
And that's all managed as well through the portal. So once you have access to the business portal, you can actually go in, submit a firewall request. There's a team dedicated for doing that type of work. They get the request, bada bing, they turn that around in very, very short order. So again, these are not lengthy processes. We're not talking about days or weeks. This is pretty rapid turnaround. So.
Okay, we got about 8 minutes left for questions. So we want to open it up and ask anybody if they want to have any questions. Okay, I hope. Oh, yes, please.
Hi, Bill Carter. If you have a new user and they're putting up an application and they're new to the environment, how much funding do you tell them to go out and get, and how do you handle that? So
we usually request, and especially for the DISA services, we're looking for funding up to 3 months. So most DoD does annual. They do a fiscal year funding, O&M, but you can use any color of money depending on how applicable it is to the application that you're doing. So we usually say 3 months, but you can just do a month for the IaaS. So if that's what you have, and especially this past year with the continuing resolution, it didn't happen fast. So if you are struggling with that and you have an urgent need, we do have ability to help you with an intent to pay. We do with onboarded mission partners. So when their next year's funding comes in, then we can deal with it then, not when, you ran out of money yesterday, we're cutting you off. That does not happen in our environment. So, good question. I didn't, because we didn't do the demo, the portal has an estimation function, so you can just estimate, do your if-then, so if I have this much money, or if I do this for 3 months, and then I turn it up for 6 months after that, so you can do those use case scenarios very quickly and email them out to whoever needs them. Thank you.
Yeah, and that includes your scanning and your CSSP services, object storage, all those things.
Yeah,
that's what's on, so it gives you a real good idea.
have a shared storage, non-application-based use case where desktops can get access to storage for use. Currently, right now, we have one command who's right out of the MCI in space. They can't provision anymore, but they desperately need space. And I, as a cloud provider, cannot provide them because I don't have that use case myself.
Yeah, do you have a story for this? Because I don't have a use case for that. I think there was, somebody tried to do that. It was like, we can't provide storage for your desktops. I mean, there might be a way to do that through VDI, incorporating some of the other services. So that would be a conversation we need to have with that group. You heard that one? Yeah, we'll have to reach around. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to get your name so we can follow up on that, because that is interesting. You know, and especially as we expand to OCONUS, I could see a demand for that as well. Thank you. Anybody else? You got something? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.